Hi, my name is Rachel Swigert, and I was born in May 2000, May 22nd to be exact. Now, as a lot of you know, 2000 was a year that everyone thought the world was going to end. People didn't think that we were going to make it to the year 2000, but it's 2019 and we're still here. And I'm trying to answer the question today, what exactly happened in May of the year 2000? Now, I was born on May 22nd of that year, but after some research of the whole month, I found out that May had a lot of highs and lows and overall was a very interesting month. Now, that year, the weather in May was fairly average for what you would expect. There's a lot of rain and it's spring, so the weather is pretty moderate, but there was one day pretty early on in May that the day reached a high of 87 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely hot for the month of May. And surprisingly, it only rained 4 days throughout the month of May, which, as you know, is completely different than the May that we are currently having, or currently had. Now, music-wise, for May, the #1 Billboard song for the whole month of May that went into June was Maria Maria by Santana. Particularly also on May 23rd, Eminem released his third studio album that ended up eventually winning the Best Rap Album Grammy in 2001. This album was called Marshall Mathers LB, and it was the fastest ever studio album. In May, there was also the 35th Academy Awards for Country Music. That year, Shania Twain, Faith Hill, and Tim McGraw all ended up winning. And Maria Maria was the overall Billboard hit, but particularly for country music, the #1 hit was by Kenny Rogers. It was called Buy Me a Rose. It was the first hit, his first hit in 13 years, and ended up topping the charts. And at age 61, Rogers was the oldest artist to achieve a #1 country song. Now, in May of 2000, there was a lot of sports games and events that were going on. Some of the big ones that I found out about was that Barry Bonds was the first MLB player to hit a home run in San Francisco Bay as Giants beat the Mets 10-3. Now, I don't know a lot about baseball, but this seemed to be very epic and worth mentioning in the history books. Also in May, geocaching was established as a sport. The first catch was placed and coordinates from the GPS were established. Also that year was the 126th Kentucky Derby. That year, Kent DeSormick won on his horse Pegasus. Also in London, England, the English FA Cup was occurring, and Chelsea beat Aston Villa to 1-0, and the goal was scored by Robert Di Matteo in the 73rd minute of the game. And last but not least, the last major sport information that I gathered from the month of May was that the NHL Eastern Conference Final was going on, and the New Jersey Devils ended up beating the Philadelphia Flyers 4-3. Now, all of that is pretty good news. There's also more good news, but as we get into the different politics and things that were going on during this month, there's also a lot of bad that ended up occurring. So during May, the president of the Philippines declared that there was a state of rebellion, in her country, and this was due to the supporters of the preceding president storming the palace. Also in May, Bill Clinton ended up announcing that the GPS was no longer just restricted to the military. It was going to be open for public use, which was very big, especially today, as the GPS is a very large part of our everyday lives. May 2000 was when India's population officially reached 1 billion people. And during this month, there was also a rare astronomical conjunction that occurred. A conjunction is when the planets are all aligned. It was a conjunction with all of the 7 traditional celestial bodies. Also, Vladimir Putin was inaugurated as president of Russia, and Princess Margaret of the Netherlands unveiled the Man with Two Hats monument in Ottawa, and this symbolically represented the Netherlands and Canada were linked together, and this was in dedication to Canada's assistance throughout World War II. Now, there was a lot more that obviously went on in May, but this is just hitting some of the major points in some different categories. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching my video, and I look forward to watching all of your guys's.